If you want to start a business, most people unfortunately fail. I will explain why and how to avoid it. I have spent 16 years running businesses and training for 31. What do these have in common? I started for the right reasons and I never stopped. That's the biggest reason for my results. Maybe you have thought about it, maybe you have even tried, but the truth is that half of all businesses fail within the first 5 years. And the number one reason? People start for the wrong reasons and they don't have a game plan. In the next couple of minutes, I'll give you my exact framework to get started so that you don't have to figure it out the hard way. If you want to start your business and stay in the game, know how to do it, let's dive right into it. This is for you. My goal with these videos is to take challenging life and business problems and turn them into simple, easy to understand, actionable steps for you. That's how I believe I can add the most value. The number one question I get from people is this: what should I be doing in the future? Many people are intrigued and interested in starting a business, becoming full-time entrepreneurs, but they feel stuck. They don't know how to get started, which idea to pursue, and they are probably afraid, fear of losing. Today I'm going to be talking about two things: the basics, the macro level stuff, which are start for the right reasons, understand where you're coming from, and number two, figure out how to stay in the game. In the beginning, I will have 3 starting point alternatives for you that you can choose from. And in the end of the video, a little accountability test for you. Bunch of questions you can ask from yourself, keeping it simple still to make sure whether you have it in you or not. But let's start with the very basics. What is entrepreneurship overall? It's about solving a problem and getting paid for it, right? Sounds very simple. Identify the pain points in the marketplace or the problems, figure out what your solution is, and then get paid for it. It's simple, but also very hard at the same time. What makes this game simple is that you can literally take any business or any industry and turn it into a sizable, profitable business, up to 10 million, I would argue. Sell whiteboard markers, become a personal trainer, turn that into a business, or start a gas station. It gets much more limited if you want to become a billionaire, but that's not what we're going to be talking about. So this is the classic macro level versus micro level things. We need to get the basics first, understand why we are starting and how we can stay in the game long enough to be successful. Let's talk about food, something everybody understands. We need to eat to stay alive. If you want to live longer, you probably need to clean up your diet. So you hire somebody who's going to help you with that new nutrition plan. What do? You don't start talking about the differences between white rice and brown rice. No, you start by understanding that there are proteins, carbohydrates, and fats, meaning the basics. The same thing with business. We don't talk about ad campaigns on day one or how to create your perfect hook, but we need to make sure that the basic things are nailed down. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. The numbers here on the whiteboard are the very reason why I make these videos, so that you wouldn't end up being one of these companies who after 10 years go belly up, go bankrupt, or just quit. 65% being the exact number. After the first year, 23% of the companies are no longer in business. The question is, why does it happen? Why are the numbers so high? I believe there are 2 reasons behind that. Number one, people start their business for the wrong reasons. Either it's somebody else's dream, or you're chasing money, Lamborghini, that beach house, that private plane, or it's the latest trend. Or number 2, we don't have the right skill set. And there are many aspects regarding skill sets and knowledge, of which probably the most important is to stay in the game. The most successful entrepreneurs, they are relentless, they are obsessed. They figure out a way how to stay in the game when nobody is giving them any good feedback. There is no reward, there is nobody patting you on the back. That's the thing. But let's be real, entrepreneurship isn't for everybody. And all my credit goes to those people who are happy with their 9 to 5. Doctors, lawyers, engineers, nurses, school teachers. I don't care what your profession is. I'm not here to try to sell this idea of becoming a business owner to you. But for those people who are determined that this is the path, I'm here to help. That's why I'm making these videos. But to me, success really is being able to do those things that you truly enjoy. Live life on your own terms. Not your mom's or your dad's dream. Yeah, your whole family might be full of engineers or lawyers or whatever. It doesn't mean that you have to become one. The reason why I'm trying to help is to make sure that we can all chase our dreams. This sounds a little naive maybe, but I'm just such a big believer in that. So let's make sure together that we don't end up being one of these companies or entrepreneurs who start but never finish. If your motivation to start is money, you will fail. Money is a byproduct. Your first mission is to get good at what you do, and you will eventually get what you deserve. That's the rule number one. As promised, I'm going to give you 3 different starting points for starting your business to have that baseline, that foundation that you can always lean back on. Let's go through them one by one. Number 1 is passion. I'm such a big believer in this. We have talked about this in the past, but the way this works is that you ask yourself, what am I naturally curious about? Where are my deepest interest areas in life? What do I find myself doing when I have free time? When I try to pick up my daughter from the gymnastics practice? I'm waiting in the car, I have an extra 30 minutes. Am I watching those dog videos on Instagram? Do I dream about becoming a gardener? That's the question. What would I be doing in life, even if nobody was giving me any money for it? Number 2, problem, pain. Let's say I'm familiar with knee pain. I've been an athlete my whole life and I struggle with knee pain. I've tried all kinds of knee braces and I know which one works, which one doesn't work. So I'm intimately familiar with certain problems or pain areas in life. Then I can become the true expert in that field and create a solution for that. So I'm the target customer myself. Let's say another example could be that I have on my personal life, I have gone through a couple of difficult breakups or divorces in my life. So I might know a thing or two about how to survive that. So I could actually turn that pain, that problem definition into a solution. Start talking to other divorced fathers or dads who go through the same thing, provide a solution, try to help them. These are just a couple of examples of how I can turn a problem into a solution by being part of that group myself. Last one, profession. What does that mean? Let's say you are an accountant in an accounting firm. So you basically already know that people pay for that service. Then you just outsource yourself. And you start selling that very same service, that same competence to other people. A couple of other ideas or thoughts about these 3. If I had to pick, I always lean on 1 or 2. The difference or the difficulty with number 3 is that this is probably the easiest to monetize. So the gap between now and your future entrepreneurship is very small. You already know that people pay for this. So the proof of concept is already there. That's not a challenge. But you might need to ask yourself, is there enough passion? Do I see myself doing this for 10 years? Whereas with number 1, your big fuel, your big why is already there. This is something that you just love. I mean, you would be doing this no matter what. Turning that into a business, understanding that everything gets hard at some point. When you have something that you truly enjoy doing, it gets so much easier. And like I said, staying in the game is probably the most important thing when it comes to becoming successful in entrepreneurship. And then problem, the same thing. You're so intimately interested in finding a solution that your knowledge base gives you an edge when you're starting and when you're trying to execute that idea. If you have 2 out of 3, you're golden. You're unstoppable in my books. If I had to choose, I would start with 1 or 2, but 3 is fine too. You can probably turn this into a very profitable large business. But my only concern would be longevity when it comes to profession being the starting point or baseline for your future business. How do I know it if I have it in me? Most people hide in corporate, academia, and other areas of life. The reason why I love entrepreneurship so much is that it's like sports. There's no hiding. It's always my fault. True entrepreneurs respect the wins and losses. It's a game, like playing football or basketball. The results are always there. It's always fair, because in the end, I always get what I deserve. So ask yourself a couple of things. This is the so-called test when it comes to being a true entrepreneur. Accountability and longevity are the 2 things. Accountability and longevity. Who's responsible? It might be somebody else's fault, but I'm ultimately always responsible. All the answers are in the mirror. You can't point fingers. Many people in life are used to pointing fingers. That's not it. If you want to start this game, stop that. It's total bullshit. There's nobody else but you. It sounds brutal, but remember this, we're not blaming ourselves. We're taking responsibility. There's a big difference between the 2. Being accountable and being responsible is not about blaming yourself. It's about understanding that you are in control. You are in charge. When you take all the responsibility, you know that you can influence the outcome. That's the number 1 thing that we need to understand. So being accountable. Then longevity. I mentioned this several times, but we need to be able to figure out a way how to stay in the game. Is this something I start and never stop? Because that's what entrepreneurship or any good thing in life is all about. It's about playing infinite games, not finite games. Briefly about that. An infinite game is a game that never ends. You never lose if you never stop or quit. Health is an example. My goal is not to be in my best possible beach body shape by next summer, but my goal is to stay healthy through life. Marriage. Your goal is to stay married. You don't want to win that battle. You don't need to win anything. Entrepreneurship is no different. All true entrepreneurs have figured out a way how to stay in the game. And that's how they measure their success. These two, accountability and longevity. Okay, what about my story, you might ask? Let's put some own skin in the game here. Remember we had those 3 starting points: problem, passion, and profession that you can base your career on as an entrepreneur. I first had a 10+ year corporate career that I then quit and started my own companies. But that 10+ years first was just profession related. I was fortunate enough to get a job fresh out of college, and over time I was able to turn that into a skill set. But when I quit, there was not a thought in my mind that I would even consider doing that as a full-time entrepreneur. I wanted to do something else. So my first business in the US was my real estate company. That was purely passion related. I had a lot of energy. I had my big why, and I was able to turn that into a profitable business. The second one, when I pivoted and I started a similar company but different in Europe, that was then passion plus deeper knowledge. So like here in my corporate life, in the beginning you're clueless, you don't really know what you're doing, and over time you get better at it. But here, of course, the same thing happened in my first business, but then the second I was able to apply these learnings and get better. And I was able to see that some of the results that came a lot faster because I already had gone through those. So I had paid down some of my ignorance debt, the cost of not knowing what I didn't know with my first business. And now I'm actually living this life here. This is my 3rd full-time business that actually is, for the first time, purely passion and problem related. So we're talking about business coaching now. I'm making these videos. This is my way to market my services, but then I help entrepreneurs, startups, business owners to grow their companies and also improve their lives overall. Health, wealth, happiness is my scope. But this is purely passion. I'm deeply passionate about this. I want to help. I would be doing this even if I didn't get any money for it. That checks that box. And then what about problem? I've gone through a lot personally and professionally, so I can relate to these challenges that people go through. My personal challenges with my divorce and breakups and all of that stuff, plus having lived in multiple countries, understanding the cultures and the differences, and then also having gone through lots of ups and downs as a business owner. So it's a combination of passion and problem. If you remember, a few minutes ago I said that if you have 2 out of 3, you're golden, you're unstoppable. I don't know if I'm unstoppable, but the good thing is, like I said, I always get what I deserve. That's why entrepreneurship is such a perfect game, because the results always reflect your inputs in a long enough time horizon. Consider this your final test before getting started. Ask these 3 questions from yourself. Number 1, am I doing this for the right reason? There are 3 different alternatives or baselines: passion, problem or pain in the marketplace, and then a profession you're familiar with. Number 2, what do I need to stop and start? What is it that I'm doing today that I need to stop doing going forward? And are there things that I'm not doing right now that I need to start doing in the future? Once you know what those new things are, ask yourself, can I do this forever? Are these the types of things that I don't need any breaks from? Would I be doing this if I didn't get any compensation for this? In other words, play only infinite games, and that's how you get the results you deserve. Business is simple, but it's never easy. Pick the right business for you based on those 3 alternatives we covered, then start and never stop. That's it. What's your next move? I would like to hear back from you. Drop it in the comments below. I appreciate your time. I know it's your most valuable resource. Thank you for watching today. If you like this video and the other ones on my channel, please like and subscribe. That would mean a lot to me. Thanks a lot, and I'll talk to you again next time.